Hello, Fairmount. This is Music Director Konrad Binienda here with Molly McFadden. I just want to talk to you today a little bit about Molly and the piece that she's writing for Easter Sunday, next week. So, Molly, one of the things I think I'd like people to know about you is that you have a musical theater background.
Yes.
So, if you could tell us a little bit about that first.
Sure. Well, my husband and I, Brian McFadden and I, we lived in New York for over 22 years, and we moved to Cleveland, Ohio, about 6 years ago to be close to our daughter, Kate McFadden, who happens to work here at Fairmount.
Yeah.
She is the director, I believe, of ministry, right? Youth
Yeah,
services.
youth services.
Right, and
She is the brainchild behind the Sumner concert. Let's
Yes.
underscore that. That was
Yes.
her great achievement recently.
Yes, it is, and very gifted young lady, if I may say so myself. But anyway, yes. So Brian and I lived in New York, and we pursued theater. I as a performer, music, acting, and Brian as a writer and a lyricist. And we eventually combined our talents, and I with music and he with lyrics. And as it would happen, I took my love of music and started realizing that, Konrad, what's fascinating is melodies would come into my head. And I think because of all my years of singing, musical theater, and classical. I love to sing classical, even though it's a challenge, Bach and Beethoven, which you understand with the choir.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fascinating, and I believe there is a composer or musician or a writer who once said there is a fountain of molecules in music and theater that just flows in the universe, and we all dip our cup into that, and we borrow and we take all of that and we give it back. And so melodies come into my brain. Melodies, they just come and la 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 la. And so as those melodies come into my brain, I sing all the time, I record all the time, and my husband and I have written a musical together. And he writes the lyrics and I write the melodies. So I came to Konrad and I said, I have an idea for a melody. And out of that came this Easter song. And it's called Empty Space.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
That melody, I have sung it for a couple of years and have played it with other musicians. And I came to you and said, this is about, it's a very simple melody, and out of it comes the whole spiritual recognition of the empty space, the empty tomb, of where the women come and they discover that Christ is no longer there at the tomb. And it has a very spacious Paul Winter kind of feeling to it. I love Paul Winter. And ba da 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 dee 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 dee, and a cello. And as I came to you, having recorded this in my little phone, you were very generous and said, I like that. And I had sung it at another church last Easter, and a dear friend of mine, Bob Navis, who is quite a wonderful musician, he too had embraced it, and he played it, and we sang it. And at that church, they embraced it, and another church in New York had loved it, and they embraced it. And this melody, it just ripples, da 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 dee dee dee, body. That melody just embraces. And you loved it. And then Brian said, I've got some lyrics I'd like to add, and I'd like to write. And then you, with your classical training, you said, I want to orchestrate it. And then you grabbed from this fountain of majesty, and you said, wait a minute, I hear what you're doing. I want to add tenor and bass in our choir. And so the universe embraced it, and you, with your gift of orchestration,